what he's hearing with the Detroit Pistons. I'll get the exact quote saying that the early noise about the Pistons have been they don't want to go out and make a splashy trade. So what do you kind of, I know we just talked about, making a big splash for an Anthony Davis. What do you kind of think about like what, big media members like Marc Stein are hearing from the Pistons approach? Do you think that's the right approach for them to just kind of stand pat and just maybe add something marginally for what the team possibly needs at the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, this is a team. This is one of the two teams in the league that has 20 wins. This is one of the youngest teams in the league, has a clear identity, that knows exactly who they are, knows exactly what they aren't. And I think you have like a group of veterans where, like you that complement what they're doing well. And when you look like up and down the roster, I mean, like the fact that there's still like, I know there's like a lot of jokes that are made still about about the rotations and things like that, but they're still able to go like 10, 11, 12 deep and still win a lot of games. I mean, they're still 7-3 in their last 10. I imagine as the season goes on, you're going to see that whittle down to 10, and, eventually probably 8 in the postseason. But the reality of it is right now you have guys, who are contributing from top to bottom. And so when you look at like the Pistons going out and doing something at the deadline, like, yeah, I think they can fortify the rotation. I think like similar to how they went and got a Dennis Schroeder last year, I think it can go out and get, like someone, as like a potential like 3-point marksman. Like, like I know, Anthony, I think you might have floated out this name in our conversation before, but you said, like if like what if Detroit could go get like a Dante DiVincenzo, or what if they can go get, like a 3-point marksman, who's able to come off the bench and contribute in like multiple different ways. I think like this team can potentially get to the finals right now, as constructed, and not have to go make any major moves. Like not as much because of, oh yeah, the Pistons are just that good, but also it's like, who really scares you in the Eastern Conference right now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Knicks, just because like the way Mike Brown has them playing, like offensively, they're playing even more fast paced, but we haven't seen them yet this year, which is kind of surprising given the schedule. I feel like we play the Hawks and the Bucks every other night, but I know we're talking about that before we went on. But I mean, schedule's kind of been pretty gracious towards the Pistons so far. But
yeah, yeah. Also, what the hell, Adam Silver, of making us wait until the end of February for the first Pistons Thunder matchup? The fact that we have to wait until the end of February for the two best teams in the league to play, war crime.
Very absurd.
War crime.
Maybe it'll be in a 40-game win streak when we can snap it then.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it either. Again, I feel like this is a very advantageous position for them to be like kind of sitting in. Like, we've seen the conversations on the social media. There are areas, of course, where, their roster could possibly use some improvements. There are some areas that may look a little clunky on some nights where, you wonder about what player A or whoever else could be here, what they would look like. So I understand the conversation. And again, if they were like in a situation like the teams, I mean, like Toronto, who's kind of, I think they lost like 3 straight, if I'm not mistaken. Atlanta's, sitting there in like the play-in area right now. Like there are some teams that could afford to be, buyers at the deadline or sellers. And the Pistons are not in a situation where they have to be that. They could, again, there's some names that I would love just fantasy booking wise, I think would be awesome in a Detroit Pistons uniform. We'll get into that later probably. But for now, they're in a position where they don't have to. And that's the difference. Again, the way that I don't want to say that they've been overachieving, because I do think they were capable of being one of the better teams in the East based on what Sean said. There's not a lot of teams that are scaring you. New York is good, but I don't think they've been extremely impressive for a lot of stretches and in a lot of different areas too. Boston is a good team, but again, I don't think they're, scaring anybody based on what they have now. They can still be a little inconsistent. Orlando's a bit up and down. They just lost Franz. Like, there's a lot of things that are in the air for them. Philly, Toronto, I knew Cleveland was going to be fraudulent, but there's just a lot of things looking at the East where you don't really have to be shaking and thinking, okay, we really got to sell in on this player, buy in on this one player to take us over the edge. Could it possibly work with some names? Possibly, but again, they're not in a position where I feel like they have to make that happen right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you just kind of look at the landscape, the only thing that worries me a little bit is Boston is not ruled out Tatum coming back. And I keep
Yeah.
seeing all these clips. Apparently, he had a surgery to kind of just fast track his Achilles tendon tear that he had. He looks like he's getting more explosive by the day. I mean, like if they get him back like around, mid-February to March, they're rolling right now. The Pistons play them on Monday, by the way, which it's going to be a really good test, obviously. And I feel like anytime we play them, it's just much watch TV, especially the way it ended last time of like being able to tie the game at the free throw line, couldn't do it. But I mean, maybe the Knicks and Boston right now. I mean, like the East is just not what it was last year. There's not like a whole lot of teams. Like Sean, we were talking about expectations last week. Like a lot of fans are saying, like, if you don't make it to the NBA finals, it kind of feels like a failure just because of the way that they've started off. They're 20-5 in the first 25 games of the season. Like the expectations have completely like kind of flipped with fans.
The fact that like can we just take a moment and reflect on the fact that we are like legitimately in 2025 based off of where this team has been in years past. We are unironically saying the statement, if this team gets to the finals, it will be a failure. And we're not laughing when we're talking about it. Like, I personally don't think it's a failure if they get to the finals. And I mean, if they don't get to the finals, like I think if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's a massive win for this organization. But at the same time, I could definitely understand why people feel that way, and the standpoint of like, especially through the first, again, it is about a third or, just over a quarter of the season. They have looked like the best team in the conference. I mean, they have looked every bit, the step up that people might have hoped they could be. I mean, I personally didn't see this. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't think first seed in the East. I thought third, and I thought like that would be, exciting, let alone this. Like, this is best start since 05-06.
They went to the finals that year.
Right. The one thing that does, I don't want to say worries me, but the one thing I guess you would possibly think about is, okay, fine. If we're not going to get any of the, potential names that are out there, for the market, that's cool. But I am nervous about other teams going after them as well. Like, I'm definitely I'd be a little worried if Trey Murphy ended up on a few of these teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, I don't know how. Lauri Markkanen is weird to me, honestly. I feel like he just needs to stay in Utah and figure it out, because I don't really see a whole lot of teams where I would, at least not for the Pistons' sake. Maybe some others could work, but again, his defense kind of worries me a lot. I know he's a great offensive player, but I don't know. I'm not as high as him as other people are. But there are some players out there that could tip a scale and change a lot of teams for some teams that could be buyers in this wide open Eastern Conference. So I do think some names are going to shuffle around. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive the Pistons try to be.